We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
All right. Good morning, sir. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing great, Just finished driving about 3.5 hours up to Bradenton to be up here for the Under Armour Future 50 event, which I attend every single year because they've got all the top kids in the nation in the following recruiting class, which is basically juniors, sophomores, juniors, those type of guys. So getting a head start on that. But other than that, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, too. Listen, every couple of years, I did the same thing. I just drove up to Orlando 2 nights ago to go see Clutch, and I was jamming at the House of Blues because they never come to Miami. So I feel you, my brother. I know what it's like to get in the car and just go up there and have to go do your job, you know?
Yep,
You cover
exactly.
football, I cover music. You know what I'm saying? I rock out and stuff, you know? By the way, there is a donut place called Glazedville in right there across from the House of Blues there in Disney, downtown Disney. What's it called? Disney Springs or whatever, bro.
Nice.
Oh, those glazed donuts are delicious. Ooh, that was good. That was good. So I feel you having to hit the road.
Early mornings. Yep.
That's it. Well, for me, it was nights, and then I woke up, and then the good thing is that yesterday I had Hialeah Park, so that was in the afternoon. So I got back late night Wednesday. I was able to sleep in and all that. So it was just like it was just perfect, bro. It was just set up perfectly. All right. Let's get to it. You know, Manny. I think I've mentioned this to you before, but I'm actually now. Now that I realize how bad the Dolphin season will probably be and how I really don't have a lot of hope for it, I'm actually like my hope is building more and more on the Kane side, only because at least I know Mario builds teams the way I know you have to build them from inside out. And I just hope there's no letdown whatsoever. Everything kosher with the quarterback and everything else, because he's going to have a line. He's going to have a running game. If that quarterback can play the game and take care of the football, I'm kind of excited about the season, dude. I really am.
Well, you should be. I mean, I think he did a really good job in the transfer portal. So there's going to be instant impact guys there on that side, especially on defense, where you know that they were so bad last year. Really, the reason they didn't make the college football playoff was its secondary, and they went out and really addressed it. They got some really good players there. I think, the question I have going into the year is wide receiver. You have to replace Xavier Restrepo and a bunch of guys that were big-time contributors there at that position, the number one scoring offense in college football. But they like the talent that they've accrued over time. They've got some veteran guys that maybe weren't huge from a production standpoint, but have played college football for a long time and have made plays themselves. So we'll see how that group pans out. But this is a team in my mind that should be top 2 in the ACC, no question.
All right. So with that, they've been on a red hot streak, recruiting and flipping people and all that. Even the Georgia kid, what'd they pick up this week?
Yeah, I think you look at the month of June, they've got 7 commitments now, and I want to say 5 of them have happened basically since Saturday. They've been really busy on the recruiting trail. Vance Spafford was the big pickup for them. He's a top 100 recruit out of Mission Viejo, California, 5'11", 175-pound wide receiver. You say, Manny, what's the big deal about that guy? Well, he runs a 4.35 and one of the fastest players, very highly productive at the high school level, a guy that Georgia absolutely wanted to be in its class, but Miami's been doing a really good job pushing for Vance behind the scenes. He wasn't able to even come on his official visit to Miami last week when Miami had their last batch of official visitors before we reached the decision time because he got sick. But still, you can see the job that Miami did recruiting him, that even without an official visit to Miami, The kid decided to flip from Georgia to Miami. They were able to get him. They picked up a huge tight end pickup, a guy that I've been talking to you about previously on the show, Israel Briggs, another California kid, 6'5", 200-pound tight end, absolute weapon in the passing game. You know how much Mario wants big tight ends and guys that can produce, and he's got the frame to put more weight on and be an NFL type guy, somebody that compares favorably, I think, to Will Mallory, who of course is in the NFL with the Colts. So I think those were the two big ones. Another one to mention, Ashari Charles out of Venice, Florida, edge rusher. I talked to you previously on the show about wide receiver, pass catchers, and defensive ends, edge rushers. They needed that. Well, Ashari Charles is that guy, 6'2", 230 edge rusher, still growing, probably going to stretch out and be much bigger, super athletic guy out of Venice. Venice always produces one or two guys every single year that go on to become really good college football players. And so to me, those were the three big hits on the recruiting trail this past week.
All right. And who's next? What are the remaining positions of need?
Yeah, I still think, look, this is right now an 18-member class for Miami. So there's still plenty of room. You got to remember something here. You can sign up to 105 guys now, right? The whole walk-on thing. I think Mario doesn't really want to have walk-ons. He wants to have 105 great players on his roster. And so, this could be a class that potentially gets to more than 30 kids signed if Miami really wants to go that far. So they got a lot of transfers. They got 20 transfers in the portal here. They got a bunch of guys that are going to be seniors or juniors going to the NFL, like Francis Mauigoa is probably going to be going straight to the NFL after the season, the right tackle, 3-and-done type guy. So you have to keep replenishing the ship. So there's plenty of guys left on the board, but one name to know as far as this week and potentially somebody that could be landing soon, a kid out of Arkansas, 4-star defensive tackle, Anthony Kennedy Jr. He's supposed to make a commitment sometime today between Miami, SMU, and Missouri. Gabby Urrutia from Inside the U is, basically saying all signs point to Miami on this one. We talked about defensive linemen, big guys. Mario's going to always take elite defensive linemen if he can get them. And this is a kid that took his first official visit to Miami way back over a month ago. And so you keep recruiting those guys and you keep fighting and hoping that you made a really strong impression and were able to get them to jump on board. And so that's the next one that looks like it's going to happen sometime today. Down the road, the big one to keep an eye on over the next few weeks and months is Tristan Keys, who's committed to LSU right now. He's number one wide receiver in the country. I think he's a guy that, without question, Miami wants to land. Derek Cooper, I've talked to you about him many times, out of Hollywood Shamrock, the running back. He's hoping to make his decision, I think, in early July, a guy that you have to be monitoring. Those are the big names. But look, Brock College, who's right here, IMG Academy, one of the top offensive tackles in the country. Miami's got a ridiculous offensive line class. Potentially, this guy would make them maybe a historic offensive line recruiting class. So, they just keep loading and loading and loading. And you got to give Mario credit. I think, we talk about how do you replace Carson Beck next year, right? Because he's coming in. You just got Cam Ward in and out every year. You seem to find guys in the portal. I think from Miami's perspective, they're stacking elite recruiting classes upon elite recruiting classes. And that's really how you start to turn things around and start winning on the field. And so to me, he's just got to go out and take care of business this year. They got to make the playoff. They do that. I think they're going to have a top 5, top 6 recruiting class. Right now they're top 6. I think they'll finish somewhere in there if they finish strong and make the playoff.
It's just to kind of cross over my frustrations and the reason why I have more hope for Miami. Okay. And see, you're making me even more excited now. Okay. Because see, can Ken Dorsey move? Can Steve Walsh move around? Were those guys athletic at all?
No.
Were they Vinny Testaverde in the athletic department?
No.
Were they? No, right? But what did they do for those guys? They gave them time to pass the damn ball. And whenever Steve Walsh or Ken Dorsey turned around and handed off the ball, they had a stud back or 2 or 3 that they could hand the ball off to. They had reliable tight ends. They had incredible receivers. And they had 5 hogs in the front, which is what I keep talking about on Sundays. Why you fucked it up with Marino and you never gave him a dominant line in a running game You never gave him a defense, and you never went anywhere. And now you've got this kid who's actually an excellent passer, dead ass accurate. Okay, this kid can hit anything on the field if he wants, but you got to give him time because he's just one of those kind of guys that can't move around. And so for me, Carson Beck, I know is not this kid that just left here in Cam Ward. Cam Ward can move around, can buy time, can do stuff. But if you build me a line of Montezuma, which is exactly what Mario Cristobal is doing, any and every quarterback in the world, their lives are going to be so much easier if they have 5 dudes that can block. And in college, Mario's probably going to have now he's at a point where he's probably going to have 2 or 3 on the damn bench that can just walk right in and take over. Plus, he's going to have 2 or 3 backs also. To me, that's what I get excited about, bro. You're doing what you're supposed to do as a coach or front office and personnel or whatever because your quarterback cannot do everything. And that's what I love about what they're doing in Coral Gables.
Well, if you look at the teams that have consistently won for the last 10 or 15 years in college football, every single one of them have done it up front. They've built it up front. Yes, Ohio State has a ridiculous wide receiver core and Jeremiah Smith, who's probably one of the best wide receivers to ever play the game in terms of coming out of the high school to college and being that good right away. But offensive, defensive line is where it's at, dude. And Mario understands that. He learned that at Alabama, even further with proof in the pudding and the way Nick Saban won championships. And so he's building it exactly the way Georgia is building it, exactly the way Ohio State has built it, exactly the way Clemson has. Dabo Swinney, every year they have ridiculous defensive linemen and offensive linemen, and that's why they win the conference every year. And so to me, the blueprint is being followed, and it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time when they finally sort of piece it all together and win. And I think when you you stack class upon class upon class, guys are going to leave. They're going to get in the portal and leave every single year. But if you keep replenishing it with more studs, then it's not going to matter who leaves.
I'm with you. All right. So what's going on in Bradenton? What do you got going on there?
Yeah, Future 50 event where you get to talk to a bunch of the 2027 recruits here, guys that start to get a head start on, take photos, start talking to them about recruiting, get some phone numbers. So that's what's going on here in Fort Lauderdale, which I'll be down at the OT7 tomorrow. It's the 7-on-7. You got a bunch of the elite 2026 guys that are going to be there. They're going to be playing in the OT7, which, by the way, you can watch all that stuff, I think, on the NFL Network. I think they broadcast a lot of those games there on tape delay or whatever, but you can watch sort of the future guys that are going to be stars in college football in the NFL. So a lot of interesting things going on this week, I know.
By the way, anything on the Wisconsin-Miami tampering deal?
Yeah, I spoke to some people at Miami late last week about this, and it was honestly laughter, I think, on their part about how Wisconsin is bringing this to court and basically going after Miami for tampering. I know that Miami investigated it on its own when all this stuff rose in January and feels really, really confident that they're going to be just fine. And so I think while, it certainly could be a precedent-setting case if it goes federal and people start to change their mind. But I think listening to some of the experts talk about this situation, Xavier Lucas had every right to look for a new school. And the moment, college football or college athletics starts to say, well, you can't transfer because you signed an NIL deal, it's non-binding. You can basically take off and go. And remember, the important thing here is they're not even going after Xavier Lucas. They're going after Miami for tampering here. But the bottom line is kids have the right to leave and change schools. Every student should have the right to be able to change schools and go wherever they want. And I think that's something that, as much as college sports wishes they could hold these athletes accountable and make the professional athletes, the bottom line is it's a different sport. It's a different deal. This isn't the pros. Schools are in a different tax bracket when it comes to this kind of stuff. And so I think legally, I don't think Wisconsin has much to stand on.
One more thing, and this is from Miles Deep. I might be wrong here because I don't know if he's actually been talking about the Canes or the Dolphins, but I know he's a Canes fan. So maybe he says, if you have time, Big O, any upside or improvement on Lofton? Because I don't know anything. Is that a Canes thing?
Elijah. Well, I think he's talking about Elijah Lofton, the tight end.
Okay, because I know it's not a Dolphin. I don't remember any Dolphin named Lofton, so that's why I figured Miles Deep is asking something Canes-wise. So
Yeah,
please,
really.
tell us on, please.
Right. Really special freshman that was a part of last year's group. He's going into his sophomore year. Kid out of Las Vegas, 6'3", 230 pounds. And,
Miles Deep is from
Swiss
Las
Army
Vegas.
life.
He's a Vegas guy.
That's what it's asking, yeah.
He's watching from Vegas. That's
Yeah.
why. I'm sorry. Now I put one and one
That's
together.
what it
Okay.
is.
I'm not very smart, so I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I know that he spent some time in the backfield this spring taking carries, and I know that I've heard that potentially could be used anywhere on the field, and they compared him to the Penn State tight end who just got drafted, whose name is escaping me right now, the first rounder.
Yeah.
I think he's that kind of a weapon, a guy that potentially is a first round talent, and so it's just a matter of where he gets on the field. But look, last year we got a little bit of a taste of him. He made some big plays in limited opportunities. I think this is going to be a really strong year for Elijah Lofton, especially around the red zone. I think he's going to be a special red zone threat. You could see him carry the ball in some situations. You see him catch the ball out of the backfield and score. I think he's going to be the type of guy that could lead Miami in touchdowns this year.
Interesting. All right. Good stuff. Good nugget. There you go. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro, and make sure you subscribe to The Athletic so you can find out about all this stuff. Thank you, sir. Enjoy Bradenton.
All right, brother. I'll see you.
Got it. There you go. All right. Manny Navarro. And don't forget, BigCheeseMiami.com, 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. The food is so delicious. The pizza, awesome. The lasagna. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever dish you want to get, you're going to love it there, folks. The baked ziti. I get the baked ziti all the time. They've got the eggplant parmesan, the chicken francais, the fettuccine alfredo. My wife, by the way, gets the fettuccine alfredo all the time. The garlic rolls with the pizza sauce on the side. Oh, so good, man. All the pasta is shipped from Italy, and it is cooked fresh daily. Tell them that I sent you. Go to BigCheeseMiami.com.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!